What's up, y'all? Keith Dykes here with W.K.D. Construction. Welcome back to my channel. And if you're new, thanks for stopping by. You can always hit that subscribe button, man, and come back. Check us out all the time. So let's go build something. Good morning, everybody. It is time to start framing. So on this video, we're just gonna kind of get into kind of how I laid out and found the squareness of the house. Kind of laid out our lines, how I do that process. So we're not gonna just like frame the whole house up. I kind of filmed this a little different, kind of tried to get smaller parts. That way I can kind of show more details on how I do stuff. This one's just kind of how I got the walls laid out, kind of some things that I do, and then kind of show you some of the stuff with, like we got upstairs over the garage, kind of just some small details like that, how I pitch the seals. But I believe that later on we'll try to break those down on different aspects of building the house, and try to just make it more focused on some particular points instead of just kind of having a generic framing video, you know what I mean? So this is going to probably, it just kind of consists of this main body from the garage back to the master back there, standing the walls, building the walls. We get into like crowning studs, building headers. I'm using an insulated header, so I've not done that before, so I kind of show you that. So insulated header is pretty cool. Like I said, I've not done that before, and I thought that was a very cool detail. But we're just kind of sticking to this side right here, not the whole thing, just kind of standing some walls. Just going over some small details that I like to implement on everything I do. So what do you think? You guys like my house? Dude, I love it. Look at that. I'm so impressed. It just looks really good. All the color choices, the materials, it came together. It came together really good, man. And I'm super excited. So let's go frame. Let's get to framing. All right, y'all. All of the concrete has been poured out. We got the slab, the concrete slab is done, the garage slab is done, and now the storm shelter is done. We got it poured. So now we need to come back and we're gonna lay out all of our walls, try to get a common point through the center of the house. I'm gonna set up my laser. It's got a 90-degree rule on it. So the other day before we built the storm room, I kind of got where I needed to have lines located. So I did put a couple of benchmarks down onto the concrete slab through the center of it. So now I will have a common area that I can, basically a 90-degree area line from here, and then on the master side that I can measure from. So we're just going to check it out again. We'll set the laser back up and find a center point in this main long run, and then we can measure off of from there. It's kind of hard to see the green dot, but the green dot does a lot better than the red. But we've got the laser set there. We went down where Jimmy's at, and we just put a speed square onto the concrete, and then we just slide the square to where we see the green dot. And then Steve's got one over here
Wind blowing. So we got that. So now we've got a 90-degree that runs basically through the center of each section, and we're just going to use that as a benchmark. So we know that those two lines are square. We know that this end of the house and basically that end of the house runs square, so our layout worked. But now we're just gonna, we'll probably either put a string on the concrete or either chalk a line, and then we'll use those two lines to kind of distinguish where all of our other lines will be. And then if we have to adjust a little bit here and there, we can. And we've got a dead set area that we can measure from. Okay, so we had to move the laser. Since I've got this longest wall right here, I was going to try to keep that my constant. I set it up on this perpendicular point, which is basically the longest of that. So that wall and this wall are good. They're within not even 1/8 of an inch, so I'm cool with that. These front walls, I guess when we were measuring off the string, or maybe the string was so long, maybe it kind of, you know, the wind blowing, it's hard to do with the string because, you know, 80 feet long, the string is going to do what it wants to do, and you're trying to pull it tight and everything. So we found everything that runs parallel now, and we're just going to chalk the line, and I have to cut maybe 3/16 off the corner of the slab, just a little bit. It's not much, but I'm going to go ahead and we will cut whatever, because I'm going to frame up a 6-inch. When I chalk the line, we're going to do 6 inches. That way my zip board sits on top of the slab. That way I've got enough brick ledge. So we're going to measure back 6, frame our wall, and then like I said, our zip wall is going to sit there. So I want to make sure that my slab gets cut off with the face of the zip wall. That way we can get it sealed up nice and tight, no water issues. So that's what we're going to do. We're just going to, those have got out just a little bit. Maybe, I think that side over there is I think it was the worst one. Yeah, maybe 3/8 right there on this corner. We went off this corner, so we're going to cut that straight. And this one's maybe 3/16 right here. So we did get out just a little bit, but like I said, it was probably due to trying to pull off the string and the string moving in the wind. All right, so we've got this whole master wing garage side is all laid out, chalked all the lines. Had to use my Construction Master Pro app. If you don't have it, you need to get it. It's just a app on your phone, and they make a calculator, but there it is. But you can do the rise and run, and it'll tell you diagonal, so that is very handy to have. That way you're not doing 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 10, whatever, 20, 30, 40. You can actually pick whatever you want, measure diagonal, and then you're on the money. So get the app. It's very, very handy. I use it all the time. We got a little lumber. I didn't get the entire house. I just got enough to do kind of this whole end over here. That way I don't have a huge pile everywhere. Well, we've got everything laid out kind of where we want. I'm still kind of waiting on my window quote. I've got my sun window quote, and so I'm waiting on Pella. So I don't know, if I don't get it, we're gonna probably just go ahead and do the sun window package. I was just kind of wanting to price it and see a little bit of the difference. But first thing we need to do is cut all of our 2x6 studs to 116.5 inches. That way I have a 121.5 inch plate height, because we're going to use 2x6 exterior walls. 10-foot walls. Now, I will have some 12-foot walls in here, but the majority of the house, 90% of the house, well, maybe about 80% of the house is going to have 10-foot walls. So Steve's got over there, and we're crowning everything. Very important, crown all your studs. That way when you stand your wall, all the crowns are the same. You don't have you don't have any ins and out, because I mean each stud does have its own crown. So you keep everything in line, crown the same. You will have a better product in the end. When you crown a stud, all you're doing is basically finding the natural bow of the wood. So you're just going to take it, eyeball down the end of it. I don't know if you can kind of see that a little bit. But it kind of curves this way. So we'll put a quick mark on there. Steve will cut it, and then I'm going to paint them. That way we can do a quick reference guide to just grabbing it, and we know which way's up instead of having to try to look for a pencil mark. After they've been cut to length, grab your paint. And now it's high visibility orange. Everybody knows which side's crowned, so you're not guessing. I can look from 200 feet and I know what's been crowned right. Saw this little tip from John Beer Contracting on Instagram, so thought it was pretty cool and we'd use it. I got the laser set up in line with some of these interior walls. I'm just checking to see the fluctuation with the heights of the concrete or the dips. That way we might can adjust if we needed to. Like I said, we didn't laser screed it, so you are gonna have little dips and hills and stuff. So I'm just taking the laser, checking it, make sure we're not gonna be having to shim too crazy. If we do have to shim pretty much quite a bit, then I'll probably cut the stud to make it fit, you know, at a set level height. So I'm just checking it, but overall it seems to be about within 3/16. So that is, we could stick a few composite shims under that and it'd be fine. I did find a 1/4 inch little hole right there, but overall that's pretty good. I'm not gonna really sweat over that. We'll probably just cut them all the same length, and if we got to use a 1/4 inch shim to put underneath the plate, then that's fine. That's no biggie to me. We are in building header mode, so I'm kind of changing the way I used to do. I used to do like a box header, but I've been watching Matt Reisinger and I think his name Steve Basak, architect that he does a lot of work with. Trying to keep that thermal barrier, thermal break on your headers to keep, you know, that way you don't have your header solid all the way from the inside to the outside, creating a thermal bridge. So now, once we install that, they can foam all of this, you know, in behind it and kind of create a thermal break where that temperature is not going to come through the entire wall, since we are using solid wood. All of my bottom plates, we usually go back and rip them the same width as the stud, just because most of the time your treated is usually thicker than your stud. So I like to keep everything symmetrical, in line, so we rip the bottom plate to whatever the stud is. And when we do the headers too, I always like to rip those the same as well, because a lot of times you may have if you're doing a 2x8 or a 2x10, so you're doing 2x10, you have 9 1/4. One will be 9 1/4. The next one will be 9 3/8. So you put your top plate on there, then it, you know, it's crooked. So I usually will rip down the headers to the same exact dimension. That way we've got a better product. All right, so day one, we've got pretty good bunch of studs cut up, 2x4s and 2x6s. Everything is crowned, they're marked. The guys came, had to run pick my daughter up from school, so I had them nail up some of the walls. And I'm just now, I think I've decided on the sun windows. So we went ahead and built some of the headers. I was waiting on a price from Pella, see where they would be at, and I mean they're within $1,000. So I'm just gonna go with sun. I really like the windows. I like the solid nailing flange, and their customer care is top notch. I had some issues at the Melton Farm project. They came down, sent a guy to repair them, fix the sashes, whatever I needed, they fixed. And so customer care is really good at Sun Windows, so I'm very happy about that. But that was probably my biggest thing. I was just kind of just shopping to see if they were very competitive. I haven't priced Pella versus Sun, so it was a pretty good lick on this set of windows and doors, because I've got several. We're almost spent a bunch of money on some windows and doors. And so I wanted to make sure I was happy about it, and I am. So like I said, sun products are very good. I really like them, so that's what we're going with. So we got our header stashed in the storm room. You seen my oxy bags. But so in the morning we'll jump out here and we will start finishing these window openings and everything, start standing some walls. So we should have, with everything prepped, we should have maybe all these on this end pretty much done. We are going to take a little care when we anchor them into the concrete. I do have the radiant heat. I did try to map out some lines, you know, where my lines were, so I'll have to kind of get them drawn, make sure we don't want to drill into a line. That's the only kind of thing that's kind of scary about it, but I tried to map it out, like I said. And then I've got some shorter 1/2-inch wedge anchors, so we're not going to have to go so deep, put her ass to sleep. so hopefully everything will work, and we will not hit a radiant line. Oh, nailing up the first wall, ready to stand it. It's been a minute before we finally was able to do this. I'm doing my window seals a little different. I'm doing a positive pitch. Like if you followed us on the Melton Farm project, we came back later and did it, and that was a pain in the ass. So we're gonna do it beforehand. We are pitching each cripple 3 degrees, and then we're beveling the seal 3 degrees. So I think it'll work perfectly. There's multiple ways you can do it. You could probably use a planer to do it, but that'd be a pain in the butt. And then you can also come back, make your window frame opening bigger than your window, and then add a piece of clapboard siding on it to get the pitch too. So either way, but I think we're going to use this method. It'll be fine. I think it'll work great. So then we will have about a 1/4-inch pitch on our 2x6 wall on our windowsill. We'll come back after we use our zip system sheathing, and then we will probably use the liquid flash. I kind of like the liquid flash a little better, or the stretch tape, but more than likely we use the liquid flash. Son of a yeah, we forgot to freaking film the first wall. We got it up and I was like, we didn't do it. Dang it. We'll get the second one. So I'm not a fan of the foam seal gasket, which I got to looking the other night, and they do make a like a EPMD, I guess, kind of gasket. Looked pretty cool, but it was too far. Too far. I couldn't order it because I wouldn't have been here in time. But I always will seal the inside and the outside of the bottom plate regardless, with liquid flash on the exterior. That way we don't have any air loss through there. But I'm just going to take some foam, some spray foam, closed cell foam, and just kind of run a bead down the middle underneath the plate and around our pipe down there, just to keep a capillary break from water ever wicking in if possible. So I'm just going to foam it, we're going to sand it, and then we'll bolt right through the foam. So we'll try it out. I'll go ahead and stand. It looked pretty cool. Yep. Now you can see it has a positive pitch. I don't know why they call it a positive pitch. It almost is like a negative, but anyway, the window sills are pitched, and we will be shedding water. And I think the header detail will be cool too. That way, as I said earlier, we was gonna try to make it where we can put foam on that whole header, because if you do solid from front to back, that is a pretty decent thermal bridge, and that will break it up just a little bit. It's not going to be, we're not going to have a full thermal break because I'm not going to put insulation on the outside. And I looked at using T-studs, and I should have done a little more research on that, and I really would have liked to use that, but I didn't. We just went with 2x6s. But the T-stud has actually got a break in between it. You can foam in between the studs. Something cool to look at, and you have a thermal break inside your framing versus having to put insulation on the outside. So it's pretty cool, something to look into if you've never heard of it. T-studs is what they're called. Time to brace the wall. Lucky I got my Buffalo Bob Safety Adjust-O-Matic 500s because they're the cat's pecker. There's where they are where it's at. If you don't have adjustable braces, I highly recommend getting some. If you're using wood braces, You need to get out of the damn dinosaur age. Yeah. You don't need no blocks. You can go in the wall. Or... I don't know what you're doing. What's this for? I don't know. I was going to have it in behind here. No, because the screws are only 1.5 inches.
Oh, yeah, you see what we're... Yeah, man.
Stop. Maybe so soft.
It might work.
Yeah. Go out just a little bit.
Yeah, it's gonna turn.
Huh?
This one's out,
Other way. One quarter turn. Right there. Yeah. Laying out my plate, and Steve brought his handy dandy little jig. Pretty cool. Does 16 and 24-inch layouts. I ain't gonna lie, it's a little scary drilling into my floor with the radiant heat. I did draw a rough map, tried to measure it where it was gonna be, but then we also got a little piece of tape right there so we don't go too deep, you know what I mean? It always sucks to go too deep. But we don't want to hit a water line. I said it before, get you a plate level. Don't be trying to build nothing with a 4-foot level or 6-foot level. It just ain't gonna happen. We got 10-foot tall walls. You need to measure, you need to level from plate to plate, not just on the stud, because the stud is bowed. So this is a Stabila 7 to 12 plate level, about $400. I've had this, I don't even know how long. 10 years, something like that. Still accurate. So get you one. I don't know about y'all, but my ass is tired. It's always tough those first couple days we get to framing, man, because we do so much. We do different stuff all the time. It's not like we're framing all the time. My body's not used to it, and it's definitely not as young as it used to be either. So, but we have got most of all this end done, so tomorrow we should have just about all the garage and everything, this kind of whole kind of wing right here done. But I'm excited. I hope Emily's gonna come home tonight, and she's actually gonna be able to kind of see what we got going on here, be able to walk into there. So, which we still got to do the laundry room. We're gonna have a laundry room, little powder room right there. This is where we're gonna come in from the garage. and it goes into our bedroom right there. Of course, laundry room's gonna go all the way straight through. We got the bedroom and then the master bathroom. We have the toilet, tub, shower. And we'll have a vanity, and then we can go into her closet and then my closet. And then you'll be able to go into the laundry room. You can go into the laundry room from the closet too. So that was one thing that she really wanted, was the laundry room to be right there. Because, you know, a lot of times you'll come into a house, you go through the laundry room and it doesn't look very good. So now we've got the laundry room right off the closet. Easy for keeping all the clothes clean. And then Macy's room's upstairs, and we'll probably do a laundry chute down into the laundry room. That way she can just throw them off in there, because she don't do good picking up her stuff. You know what I mean? If you guys have teenage kids, you know what I mean. Oh, ready for day 2 tomorrow. Who did that? See, what happened was, alright, so you've seen the notch in the garage. Of course, we are gonna have a bonus room above the garage. I do have to do a steel beam across the middle of it to hold floor joists, but I'm going to inset a 2x12 all the way on this end, and then whatever we got on that in that little section over there, we're going to do that. That way we can use joist hangers, and then TJI floor joist with a steel beam in the middle. That way I can span it, and I do have enough room. I raised it all the way up. Well, what we're going to do is we're going to raise the TJIs all the way flush to the top of the top plate, because I've got a 12-inch tall beam, 8-inch I-beam, and it's 12 inches tall. So I'm trying to get as much headroom, you know, in the garage as possible, which we're going to be pulling, which my truck is lifted. I got a lifted dually, and I can get under 7'2". So I think we're going to have about 8'3", somewhere in there to the bottom of the beam, and then it'll go back up to 9 feet. So height-wise, we should be good to go. So that's what we're going to do, is just notch that out, inset, joist hanger, and go. And my manifold. Worked out like a champ, laid the whole house out after. But I'll probably go back and get maybe some self-leveling concrete or some sort of concrete and put in that little gap, because I do have to do a beam pocket for the steel beam. So I'm going to go ahead and pour some concrete of some sort. That way it's structural, and then I can put my either steel. I may put a steel post in the wall, or we may just like triple or quad up some 2x6s. So I don't know. Probably steel, but we'll see. Oh, we got the little mud room right here. That'll be our powder room. And we got this wall framed up. We quit a few minutes early. I was trying to get everything covered up. It's supposed to rain tonight. This afternoon the wind's been blowing freaking 30 mile an hour all day. So we just trying to batten down the hatches and get ready for tomorrow. Hopefully it won't get too much more windy. And we'll get back at it and get the garage framed up. Like I said, I got my beam ordered, my I-beam ordered. I got my I-joist. They should be here in a day or two. All my LVL should be here in a day or two. So I'll get going on my list on all my ceiling joists, because we're going to rafter. I think we're just going to go ahead and rafter this whole section right here, because we're only going to have about 8 trusses back there. If we went trusses, we'd only have about 8 of them till they get to the hip. And I like to frame all my own hips. I don't really care to do the truss hips. So I think we're just gonna seal and joist and rafter everything ourselves. And then we will have several trusses on this side just because the span is so big in the great room. So we will do trusses on this side a little bit. And then of course we'll have to do some hand framing too. Oh, we've got the front. I got a call. Hold on. Ooh, so as you can see, it's pretty cloudy. We've kind of worked through the rain a couple times, a little drizzly, and it's getting ready to pour down pretty good. So we're calling it quits early today. But we've got there's my mom-in-law on the golf cart checking the mail. So we've got all of this end basically framed. All the studs are ready to, you know, they're all standing. Now we're going to concentrate onto our 2x12 inset up at the top of the wall, joist hangers, ceiling joist, steel beam, flooring this whole section, and then ceiling joist and rafter. Well, we did not set my LVL. I do not have them yet, but very important. You need to know what you are going to be holding up. You need to know your span. You need to know what's going to be on top of it. In this case, I am going to have a huge dormer up on top of it because it's going to be Macy's room upstairs. So we are going to have like a shed roof type dormer. So her room is going to come out. So that room is going to sit on top of it. That roof's going to sit on top of it. So you need to have an engineer really tell you what size beam that you need in there. And in my case, I'm very fortunate because I've got a really good relationship with Power Truss out of Mayfield, Kentucky. They do all of my trusses. They do a lot of the sizing of the beams. All I had to do was tell them my span, what's going to be on top of it. So they can engineer a LVL to withstand whatever you're putting on top of it. So in this case, I'm going to have to do a triple 14-inch LVL. So we're going to have 5.5 inches wide, 14 inches tall. I'm spanning a 16-foot door, and then I'm going to have a 12-foot dormer on top of it. And then it's going to be, I think they told me to be like a 3/8 inch deflection with the the most snow load you can have on it, which we never will have that much. But they really maxed it out, and they said a triple 14-inch LVL will suffice for this right here. I also had them do a load test on my floor joist. We're going to use 11 7/8 TJIs. I'm spanning, the length of the garage is like 26.8 or something like that. So I'm going to put a steel beam right in the middle. So we're basically spanning 13 feet. And they told me 11 7/8 inch TJI will do the job perfectly. And underneath each side of the dormer, I will set a 2-ply 11 7/8 LVL under that for the structural of the wall coming back into the roof. I had my engineered lumber delivered. Got some TJI floor joists and some LVLs. Got the LVL headers that go across the garage door, and then the TJI, of course, are my floor joists. The cool thing about the TJIs is you can have just about any length that you want. I mean, I've had them like 35 feet before. So these are 26 feet. We'll do joist hangers on that rim board, and they'll span all the way across and sit on the header on the garage side. And I did go buy Copeland Metals out of in Paris and pick up a huge steel beam. This sucker is it is big. It's 8 wide, 12 inches tall. It's got a 1/2 inch flange on it, so it ought to support that dang another house on top of it. But we're gonna get with trying to put some of the top plates and stuff on right now, get ready to set this header. We'll get the header set, and then get ready to start working on this steel beam. That is a Hondo beam right there. So trying to figure out if I want to use my spreader bar or not. I don't think I really want to, but it's going to be hard to manhandle if we can't turn it easily. You know, if it's just sitting on the forks, it's going to be a little harder to handle once we get it up there. So I don't know though. We'll see. I don't know. I just don't know. So we got our post on either side ready to support our header and or our our I-beam. I did 2x4s and 2x6. That way I may go back and put a 3-inch square tubing in behind here, so I'll have enough room to fit a 3-inch square tubing all the way up there if I feel the need. We'll see what we do. I think it'll be fine, but if I'm thinking that we need a little more support, I will get some 3-inch tubing and do a vertical brace on the backside of that 2x6. So we got it snuck in there right in time, right before this storm blew up. Get a little wintertime thunderstorm. Of course it's warm, but it's supposed to cool down pretty rapidly. So we're good to go. I'm gonna get a mag base drill some holes in the top flange. We'll mount a probably a 2x10 to it maybe, and give us something that way we can fasten our floor joist to it, and then lay out our joist hangers and start slanging some joist into here. And yeah, we'll have a floor here in a few days.
All right, y'all. So that was it. That was my video on kind of wall layout and some simple framing details that I like to use. So appreciate you watching. Thank you for watching. And oh yeah, here, check here. You can see the finished, what an insulated header looks like. Turn the camera around here. So all of that, come on camera. So you can see I've got foam, I got spray foam in behind the 2x, and then I've got rock wool placed inside there. I ended up going with rock wool on the walls, and then we've got the whole ceiling is sprayed with open cell foam. So I decided to go that way. I thought the rock wool had better, mostly for the sound properties, but it also has just a tad more R value. It is fireproof, waterproof, so very, very cool product. Very easy to put up, way better than fiberglass insulation ever thought about being. And it's pretty close to the same cost as spray foam insulation. But being able to insulate the header, it just helps you out, because that would be kind of a cold spot. Like I said, if you did all that solid wood, you are going to have a thermal bridge from the outside to the inside, and it will draw whatever temperature is outside. If it's super cold outside, it'll kind of draw through there and make that header place cold. And we're just trying to omit that as much as possible and keep our building envelope as tight as possible. The tighter and more energy efficient, the easier it is to heat and cool and keep your house comfortable. So you can come back next week, and I think we are going to get into all of our TJIs and all the framing over the garage. Get into the Advantech subfloor, my which it's all I like to use. I would really like to use the X Factor. I was going to try to get into the X Factor, but they don't keep it in stock where I am. I was going to have to order it, and I was going to have more. I couldn't order just how many pieces I needed. I was going to have to order a big bunk, I think. So I didn't do that, but maybe on the next project we'll get into some X Factor, and that is like Advantech on steroids. But that's it. Once again, I am Keith Dykes. Thanks for watching, and you guys have a wonderful day.